The second to last thing I want to ask you guys, well, more specifically, Mike, this is the chain of anxiety. I think with the three guys right now, with Mike, Ike, and Billy. I don't think anything's wrong with the anxiousness. I think we're just excited. We're ready to do. I don't know if you ever knew this, Mike, but I hide my anxiety very, very well with tasks and things to do. But Mike, you are a seasoned vet. You're a little older than both me and Billy. What advice would you give us maybe to control it? Because you're very open about your anxiety. I wouldn't say it's an issue. I would just say it's maybe a skill that once you hone it, you could do more exceptional things. Advice would you give to me and Billy or others that I wouldn't say suffer from it, but maybe have uncontrolled anxiety?
Yeah, no, for me, I need to feel organized. The second I feel unorganized, everything starts to spiral for me. So to get set for the next day, to make sure I have everything organized and everything planned, especially right now, like there's a ton of shit I want to get done. The night before, I make a list for myself and I put on that list things I need to do that day, whatever that might be. Simple tasks, even if it's going for a jog, showering. Like I'll put on there showering, which is a crazy thought, but maybe even now when people are stuck in their homes, you might forget to do that. But I like to keep a list of everything. So that way, when I'm accomplishing something and I'm doing something, I cross it off the list.
This was pre-quarantine you were doing this as well?
Pre-quarantine, but I think I've gotten even more strict with it now and gotten better at it because even though I'm stuck in the house, I actually have a lot more that I'm able to do, which is amazing because just by a work standpoint, I have more flexibility. So I've actually gotten a lot more work done and I've been a little more efficient with everything. But I like to make a list. I think that's really key. And then also just in the moment of something and just understanding that this will pass, good or bad, it will pass. Like if you think back to something from 3 weeks ago, I'm sure all of us at one point in the last month were feeling anxiety about something. But I said 3 weeks ago today, what was it? And unless it was something really horrific, I can't remember. I don't know. So even if I'm in a moment of this will pass, it's going to be next week at this time and you won't even remember what it was. So don't zoo out in the moment. Take care of what you need to do and do it. And I'd like to use that method a lot on Sundays. I used to get really bad Sunday night anxiety, more like they say Sunday morning anxiety, but just understanding the moment will pass. You'll be back here at the same time. And in the long run, it will be okay. Believe in yourself and just take a deep breath and it will all go forward. So organization and understanding that this is just a blip in our lives. It will all be good.
As we hear the demonic echoes come from Billy's car phone.
We will really all be screwed.
So Billy, have you incorporated routines like with Mike? I agree with that, man. Writing or bullet pointing things down to do to try to keep a routine, man, because it's like unorganized. I guess, especially in the times we're in, you could really, really lose your mind. But how have you dealt with yours?
Well, the problem with me is
may not be a problem. Don't say problem unless it's a problem.
Okay, how about the issue? Maybe you want to say issue.
It's the same thing.
All right. How about this? I got it.
Be positive, Billy. Try to be positive.
Okay, how about this? The way I'm wired. How about
Perfect.
that?
I like it.
The way I'm wired is I live in the past too much. You see what I'm saying? So like I start thinking about things from the past and thinking about different eras. And I know this isn't the right way to live, and especially in the times that we're living in, you mentioned it right now, that it's hard to find ways to motivate yourself, especially like if you're, because, but plus too, like I have all these plans about my future, where I want to live and stuff like that. Okay. So I think honestly, not having basketball is tough, but I have a couple of hobbies. Like I like collecting things, both of you know, actually. I like playing guitar. So I'm not great at it, but I can play some stuff. So that helps take my mind off of just the constant swirl of thoughts that come into my head.
Have you been exercising? I know Mike is a frequent physical, I wouldn't say freak. I mean, I think he's like pretty like normal size, but I'm kidding. But Mike is, he's always exercising. I'm trying my best to stay active. Have you been incorporating more exercise? Because I've heard that over a lot of Joe Rogan podcasts that with the anxiety or extra energy, like it's good to exert it in a positive way, which would be physical exertion.
Well, here's the problem with that. I have a lot of vices. No, I know. No, I know.
We're rolling, by the way.
No, listen, man. Listen, I think the best way is to just be honest. You know what I mean? Like I like to drink beer. I like to smoke cigarettes, and I know I got to stop doing that. There's also other things that I like to do.
Oh, Brian Jones. As long as you're not part of Brian Jones, I think you're okay.
Yeah, I think I'm all right. But so I have devices which kind of help a little. Which and don't get, the thing is, I know I have to stop doing those things. Well, at least the cigarettes, I got to stop doing that.
Wasn't it
But
weird when you guys heard that essential businesses was like weed and alcohol stores? Was that weird to you, or was it understandable? Like New York can
Not surprised by that, considering how much people are reliant on it. And just to piggyback on something what Billy said, I know for me, like my vices too would be drinking, and it's amazing from my end. If I get spiraled where I'll have a couple drinks each night, the next morning the anxiety and that feeling and that stress is 100 times worse. But the second you don't do it, and you don't do it the night before, when you wake up, the energy level the next day. But the tricky part is, it spirals. It's like you feel that good, it turns to bad. I need good again, good to bad. But if you can, and I've really tried out really hard to stay off that, it will decrease it a ton. I can only at least speak for me personally on that. And then another one to add on to what was Billy was saying about like activities. I did a lot of Uber Eats early on because it helped with stuff like that, like Sundays in particular.
Gotcha.
If you go on a Sunday Uber Eats run for 5-6 hours, your mind forgets about everything. You stop thinking about your problems. I'm not saying you don't, nothing floats in your head, but I mean this, and I'm not trying to minimize it. You get so focused on trying to figure out where that Subway is to pick up that salami sandwich and where to park. And then when you go in, this is old times, when it's different, you can normal restaurant, where to get the food, go to somebody's house, look at the GPS. You get so focused, for me, on those tasks that then all those issues and those anxiety thoughts, you don't have time to think about them. And it weirdly relaxed me. And then your biggest stressor is, it's 3, 7, 10, 15, number 12. I don't see this guy's apartment. Where is it? And then you get stressed out about that. But in the moment, you're like, you kind of forget about all the BS in your head, which was kind of cool.
That makes sense.
And you're making money.
And and then you're done. And all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I just made $122 today. How the hell did that happen? This is cool. Yeah, exactly. And you're making money.
So
That's
maybe
really
the
good.
common denominator is trying to exhaust those thoughts, the anxious thoughts, and just finding the right avenue.
I would agree. Because I think in a lot of ways it's a gift in a sense, because you have so much energy and you're so pumped to do things and your brain's always moving. It's just using it for good and not bad, and trying to find that balance in doing that, and not letting your mind zoo out on the negativity, but more on the positivity. And don't get too hard on yourself, which I don't do, which I can sometimes screw up.
What are your thoughts, Billy?
Well, for me personally, the one thing I realized in terms of anxiety is that I have anxiety. I have issues that I have to deal with. But one of the things that helps me is knowing that everybody in the world is dealing with something.
That's true.
So like I have my insecurities, I have my vices, I have my issues that I deal with every day. I hide it. I try to do other things, but like I said, the thing that helps me is people have issues that they're dealing with, and so you never know. So, and obviously, you walk around New York City, you see all these different types of people, and you never really know what they're going through. So one, it's important for me to be nice, and two, it's important to understand that you're just like everybody else.